Before we go into the top discussion for today, looking at the series of events that has happened at the course of the week, what story struck you the most? Let's start with Mr. Victor.
I think that of the Okwama community really touched my heart. I send my condolences to the family of the bereaved. But my greatest worry is that I've never seen a situation where security agencies or agents went for peacekeeping and they were hacked down. It is worrisome to see such a development. But we have only heard one aspect of the story. We have not heard from the community. And there are some videos going on now on the internet where some of the young people said that the soldier never came for peacekeeping, that they were being used by Tompolo, that the crisis between the two community, that because of Tompolo has a contract with the federal government, he uses the soldier to come and oppress those people from Okwama community. That at a time they came, they took 3 young boys and they were slaughtered. And this time around when they came again, they were taking their community leaders away, and they resisted them, but they never agreed to leave them. That was what caused the crisis. But my greatest challenge is that the way and manner with which the soldier went and burnt down that community, because having burnt down that community, how do we get to the root of the crisis? How do we, maybe some of those...
The military denied doing that. Actually.
So who did that? But was it the community people that burnt down their own community?
Okay.
No, if they denied it. So what we are saying is that for the community to be burnt down, maybe some of the culprits would have been killed too. Yeah. The young, the old, the weakling, were all killed. And their property, their houses burned down. So the question I'm asking is that, can 2 wrongs make a right? I was thinking that the military being an organized organization, a lawful organization would have not taken the law into their hand, because they have played the same role that the youth played by taking the laws into their hand and burning down the community, which did not supposed to be so. All right,
Mr. Madinago. Yeah.
Well, I think the issue about the banks was the most interesting for me, because the signals around the economy have really been worrisome, and so we can see that the current administration has been making efforts, running up and down, putting different kinds of measures, ad hoc measures, and even copying from the former administration to try to put the economy together. I mean, to fix the exchange rate, even though I feel that the exchange rate is not our problem. Our problems go beyond the dollar exchange rate, yes. Because the dollar, for instance, is not listed in the CBN Act as a legal tender. But sadly, it has become the legal tender in Nigeria, even more important than the Naira. So I think, yes, the issue about the recapitalization of banks is very interesting. Which is that, we are now going to see another round, very likely, of mergers and acquisitions, and then banks trying to raise money. But people are wondering, where will the money come from? Is it from Nigerians who have been traumatized by poor economic decisions taken by successive administrations? The last banking consolidation, Nigerians gleefully came out, putting a lot of money. I put in a lot of money too, but ask people around. The only people who actually can tell you they made money from that thing are the bankers and the stockbrokers. So that's why I find that story to be the most interesting for me in the week.
All right. So I think Mr. Madinago as well has opened the floor for the topic we are going to be discussing, which is the recapitalization of banks. I think the CBN governor has come out to talk about recapitalization of banks, and just like he said, I think the last time we had such exercise was 2004, when over 89 banks were reduced down to 24, 25 thereabouts, 25 banks thereabouts. And like he said, you know, banks had to merge and all of that. But again, I think he also made mention of the fact that all of these is towards the goal of raising $1 trillion, which is, I think, the plan of the federal government to salvage the economy. Do we think this is the right step towards achieving that?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, recapitalization of banks can be desirable in certain instances where, as the economy is growing, the population is growing, so needs are expanding. Like we see in the power sector, for instance, how many Nigerian banks can finance the huge, big projects in the power sector? How many Nigerian banks can finance a lot of projects? So we just find out that there is still, you still have huge gaps here and there in terms of project financing, in terms of, you know, capital adequacy ratio, like the CBN pointed out. And so the CBN has had to do forbearance to help the banks and all that, so that they don't collapse and all of that. And you see, the CBN cannot, I think the CBN using this recapitalization is trying to say that it doesn't have to continue to act as a Father Christmas, applying band-aid, you know, band-aid every time, you know, because the banks don't have the needed capital, minimum capital. And then that there must also be a difference between shareholders' funds and the capital of banks, to me, which I find quite interesting. Because in the past, you just found everything was lumped together, and you had some huge figures. And anyway, some people claim that actually some banks were just engaging in round-tripping of funds. They'll move on to this bank and announce big money in the media, they move to another, and all of that. Those were allegations, that there were allegations of, you know, underhand dealings, you know, which, of course, up to today, a lot of people are so angry, they're incensed with the fact that they put in so much money and they just got nothing. So I hope this time that the recapitalization will be done with every sense, with all seriousness, not a cowboy kind of recapitalization, whereby, you know, people are able to game the stock exchange, manipulate the stock exchange, you know, make people part with their hard-earned money, and at the end of the day, you know, you just tell them that, oh, the banks are declaring losses, or you just find some nice stories to tell the shareholders, but the shareholders can see that the bank executives are becoming billionaires. They are living big, they are living large. They are buying houses all over the world. They are buying private jets. They are going into businesses that have nothing to do with core banking. While their customers keep complaining that their money is being stolen from their account. So you can see that, you know, a direct effect of this is there have been some, you know, kind of whispers that somebody even posted on, was it X or Facebook, that Nigerians, watch your account balances. You know, so that your money is not used by banks to, you know, finance their recapitalization. So those are the it looks ridiculous. But you see, the unfortunate thing is that these are the kinds of feedback you're getting from Nigerians, you know, as a result of this. Look at what happened with the dollar, the net position of banks. They had so much money, you know, foreign currency in their vaults. But Nigerians had to keep resorting to the street vendors of currencies, this black market. So I think these things need to be ironed out.
All right, let's hear Mr. Anyas.
Well, I think all the blame should go to the central bank, because it is not playing its role very well. Okay. Its role of supervising the banks, it's not doing that very well. If it's doing that very well, why should foreign currency be found in the vault of the banks? They are culpable. So, and again, this...
Going back, yes, to recapitalization.
Yes, about the issue of recapitalization, I don't think this is the right time to do so. because every company in Nigeria today is grappling for survival, struggling for survival. In terms of electricity, if you see what the banks are going through to be able to operate, they run on diesel 24 hours. For the ATMs to work, they have to run on diesel. I was thinking that the central bank should be concerned with that by prompting the federal government to ensure that there is a stable power supply, not even capitalization at this time. And even look at the requirement, look at the amount the central bank is talking about, from 25 billion to 500 billion. The difference is too much. The central bank is not in tune with what is happening, the reality on ground. If I were to be the central bank governor, I will never talk about recapitalization in this critical time that companies are struggling to survive. A lot of companies are running away. Yes. The ones that are here who are just struggling, you want to put additional burden on them. Today that study economics in Harvard, they can praise the system, but we who are on ground here, who know what is happening, I will never support a capitalization of the banks at this time. What the central bank should prompt the federal government to do is to ensure that there is a stable power supply that will stop the banks from spending billions on diesel. A liter of diesel now is how much? I think around 1,003, 1,006.
No, 1,300, no.
Okay, if a bank is running on a liter of diesel at the cost of 1,006, how do you expect that bank to be able to survive? Then you are bringing additional body of the bank to go and recapitalize. It is not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just a waste of time. It's like the central bank does not have anything to do. That's why it's talking about recapitalization at this time. This time that even the citizen cannot. If you move around town today, you see that everywhere is dark. People no longer on generator.
So are we saying recapitalization of banks is a bad idea, or are we saying this is the wrong time to do this? It's a good initiative, but it's at a wrong time.
It is happening at a wrong time.
Okay.
And again, the amount is too much.
Okay.
From 25 billion to 500 billion. Look at the spread, the space. Yeah. That is how much. So I think I'm a realist. When I know that something will work, it will work. It is not going to work. You find out that, okay, the one that was done in 2004, about 20 years ago, you know, from 2 billion to 25 billion at that time, which was even manageable. But this one from 25 to 500 billion, where are they going to get the money from? They will never get the money. At that time, Nigeria was even, the economy was even good. At that time, the factories were working, people were working. At this time around, no is going to put his money into shares. The ones I bought there, I never realized anything from it. Some of we have some broadcast stations that went public at that time. The money I personally put there, I've never seen one kobo. And the Nigeria Stock Exchange is not even prevailing on them to pay dividend. They are spreading. Some of them have become a national broadcast station now, but the investor have never received one kobo. So somebody like me, if they go public, I will never put my kobo there. And there are other Nigerians that have suffered the same fate. So if they will not want to put their money, where will the bank get that 500 billion to put to meet up the demand of central bank? So for me, I think the central bank is not being realistic. It's like when they are up there, because of the benefit they gain. This is a subsidy we are talking about, that they say that it's not good for Nigeria, that for the economy to grow. Each of them, as you see there, they are entitled to meet some of their 10,000 liters of fuel every month. As you see, the DG of board of director, all of them, they are entitled some 10,000 liters, some 5,000 liters, some 20,000 liters. But you and I, we are not qualified. So a country that is run under in deceit and lies, how can such a country grow? The ordinary citizens are not qualified for subsidy, but those who are earning fat salary and allowances are entitled to free petrol every month. Some of them, they don't even use it. They sell it again, and the following month they give them more in the same country.
All right. So, Mr. Madunagu, do you also agree that this is the wrong time?
Well,
it's a good initiative for a wrong time, or probably a bad initiative as well?
No, it's a good initiative.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you look at what the inflation rate was then, and the exchange rate was then, and now. There's a wide gap.
Very wide, yes.
But the point is that I wish we could be talking about the plus side. That is the difference, has come about because the economy has grown. Nigerian economy has blossomed. Things have become better. Nigerians have become more prosperous. So this is an avenue for Nigerians to invest a lot of that money they've made, so that, they can make more money. I wish, we're talking in that direction. But the sad thing is that we have faced the direction of the negatives. And so the Naira has taken a loud beating, a huge beating. The inflation has gone so bad. So when we look at all of this, you have food inflation at over 30%, almost getting to 35%. So when people cannot get the basic needs of life, and you are telling them to come and invest, because the point is this: you have to do, whether you might do private placement, it will majorly come from Nigerians. Because you have how many banks now? Are all of them going to be flying all over the world looking for investors abroad? You will still need a lot of money from Nigerians. IPOs, you sell shares, even though you have private placement, and then maybe issue bonds, But the point about bonds is that it's good money to lay your hands on when it comes in. But you know what? When it's time to pay, it must be there. No, you dare not make any excuse. It must be there for you to pay. So that's why I say a lot of countries run away from bonds, like these Euro bonds, so that you don't get into a default, because the default can have dire consequences. So for me, I think, yes, well, I think Mr. Olaibi Cardoso, the CBN governor, must have been giving some very sound warning by Nigerians that don't bring this thing now. Defer it by 2 years. I saw he made a very smart move there. In November last year, when he first, brought it out to the public, it made it look like, hey, guys, we're expecting this thing in 2024. But it's like some people may have told him, look, the country is hot enough as it is now. Please, don't come and make it hotter. Even with the weather. So, maybe they're not okay, just make it 2 years. So let's see if down the road, if 1 year down the road, the economy is not really, the economy doesn't really get better like we expect, we can maybe add another 2 years, or just somehow or the other jettison the idea, But if the economy gets better, like we're all hoping for, then okay, maybe we might, with all confidence, go ahead with it. So I see that's why I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. For the fact that, like my colleague said, coming at this time is wrong. So definitely, they must have thought seriously about it. That bringing it now will not work out. So let's give it 2 years and see whether the policy is being put together by this administration, whether they will yield the required, the expected results. So we need to really deal with the issue of power, the issue of insecurity, then the issue of exports. Our exports have gone so low, even crude oil. That's our key export. We are not meeting up to OPEC quota. Even right now, our quota has gone down by 100,000 barrels per day. What else are we exporting? So, even agriculture, people can't go to the farms. A lot of these farmers are the ones riding these Okadas in the cities. Serving as cobblers, water vendors, and the like. So, scavengers and the like. So, now, you have over 2 million Nigerians in IDP camps. These people are predominantly farmers. By now, we should be talking of upscaling our agriculture. Into full-blown, or even if it is halfway mechanization. So that, but what do you have? People are being killed, being driven away from their farms. Somebody was saying the other day his rice farm they plant somewhere in the north. That's, you know, some herdsmen let loose their cattle and destroyed. And this is something he borrowed money and invested in. So when you look at all these things, then there are some other macroeconomic policies, decisions that the government has to take. Do we need a strong naira or do we need a weak naira? We must tell ourselves the truth. We can't just continue wallowing, like my colleague said, wallowing in deceit. You know, oh, the naira is improving, the dollar is improving, the dollar is going down, and then you go to the market, nothing. Why?
Yes.
Why? Because the dollar exchange rate is not our problem. We must fix the fundamental issues. You know, like Victor said, fundamental issues of our daily existence need to be fixed. So you're looking at some other tangential issues. Well, I don't know how long it will take us to get there.
Okay, so still on the recapitalization, I think we've already pointed out some concerns, and some other concerns that came up was the fact that a lot of people might be taken out of their jobs at the cost of the
sure,
whole,
yeah.
Yes, and
because
like
even
said,
the conditions are even stringent.
Like before.
No, you can't calculate shareholders' funds along with your capital. So, in fact, I wish the banks well anyway. If the policy goes like, yes.
All right, let's have Mr. Victor. But I love the fact that we are also coming up with solutions. Okay. Like you mentioned agriculture, you know, and other things, even the naira, the whole, you know, rise and fall and all of that. Because at the end of the day, it's not just this policy. In as much as the government have the future of the country at hand, but it's not something that would yield results immediately. It would take a while. Yeah. It would take a time. It would take a while, rather. So, Mr. Victor, where do we go from here now over this issue?
Are we still on the recapitalization?
Yes,
or we are moving? Before we move. Well, yes, I've said it that it is e-time and it's not realizable, considering the fact that the banks themselves are struggling. Many companies have left, as I've said before. Those that are remaining, that are providing jobs, should not be bothered with the issue of recapitalization at this time. They should allow to operate, while the government should play its role by ensuring that there is light, by ensuring that there is security. If there is security in this country, you know, a lot of companies are being vandalized by terrorists. So if the government is able to play its role by providing security, security is the A to Z of any country. Once there's security, a lot of things will be in place. Even this issue of inflation is as a result of insecurity. Yes. If people can go to their farms, you know, because the agriculture is the greatest employer of labor.
Yes, the mainstay.
In Africa,
yes.
The greatest employer of labor, because a lot of people do not have job. But if you are able to go to the farm, as you are going, you will see mango, you pluck, you eat. You see orange, you pluck, you lick. That was how we grew up in the village.
Of livelihood.
Yes, it's a means of livelihood. So when we were growing up in the village in those days, we didn't need money before we could exist.
Yes,
because we had behind our house, we had plantain, we had oranges, we had mangoes, we had
had things to take to the market to sell, pay school fees. You know,
but today it's not so.
It's not.
Where you plant something, we have people they call herdsmen that we bring their cattle to come and eat up the whole thing. And if you raise an eyebrow, they bring out their AK-47 and kill you. It's not done in other places. In Ghana there, they never tolerated it. The president made a pronouncement. I had the video there where the police officer were saying, who are these people that are they stronger than us? And they chase them away. How come our own we are not able to chase them away? You are applying your own business. You use it to destroy my own. It cannot be tolerated. So there should be security in this country. Once there is security, this issue of hunger will be a thing of the past.
Okay. But can I just quickly chip in something? I don't think that recapitalization will work now. This is yes, I think they are going to move it further. Let me tell you why. This is 2024.
Yes.
right? By 2026, you'll be looking at, you'll just be looking at the 2027 elections.
Yeah.
And no government wants to put a gun to his head. Yes, no government wants to try recapitalization within, just in sight of another general election. That is just like playing Russian roulette. And no government will try it. So maybe they are just, they just treat this thing to see how we will react. But if they will do it, or if they get a second term, maybe 2028, so that they don't care whether Nigerians, not at stake, yes. Typical Nigerian politician behavior. Yes.
All right, but we've seen this current government bringing policies, initiatives, and different things to help the economy of the country, and it's believed. I mean, looking at the whole naira dollar thing, we've seen naira appreciate. I think it's over, let's say, 1,300 or so now to dollar, depending on where you're buying it from, whether the black market also. And we've seen that one of the policies or the decision the government took was to eliminate the foreign exchange backlog of about $1.5 billion, and so many other things, that was put in place. And then again, recently we had the president say that Nigerians need to patronize made in Nigeria products, which brings us back to what we were saying earlier. Nigerians need to patronize made in Nigeria products to strengthen our naira. Gentlemen, do we agree? I don't know if we're laughing.
You see, let me tell you something. The world is a global village. There's nothing called made in Nigeria products. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
Well,
because you know why? Do you know why I say there's nothing called? Because look, you still have components from different parts of the world. So you may find out that in any product, even textiles for instance, you may find out that at a certain point in the chain of production, maybe you got ink from China, or maybe you got thread from Ghana or something. So when you say made in Nigeria, it makes it look as if we are so helpless. The point is this: it's not about producing and consuming in Nigeria. I, for one, I'm a proponent of exports. Produce services for exports. Let us be able to compete more favorably, improve our balance of trade. Then, when you do that, you now have to contend with the kind of policy. China did that successfully. That's why anytime China devalues the yuan, you see the whole world start shaking. America gets on the offensive. That China, what are you doing? You want to upset global trade, blah, 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 blah. And then China will stylishly try to adjust. Now, because they don't need a strong currency. Check the leading nations of the world, apart from the US and maybe UK. Do they have very strong currencies? No. Do they need very strong currencies? No. The point is this: if your exports, can outweigh your imports, you're not going to ban imports. But the way some people put it is as if, we're import dependent, so let's ban imports. It's only made in Nigeria and all of that. Do you have the capacity? 200 million Nigerians. Can you, for instance, with the problems we have in Nigeria now, can you cultivate enough maize to provide just basic meals for children every day in Nigeria? The answer is no. My colleague talked about power. Is it companies that are running on diesel that you're expecting should produce more and then Nigerians should buy from? Companies that are collapsing, even the foreign investors are running away, they're shutting down. They are declaring losses. So I think what we need to do is this. Let's make up our minds. Let's first of all expand our productive base. Because what the government is doing right now, let me tell you, just using a Emefiele's idea. Yes, let them correct me if I'm wrong. Emefiele spent so much defending the naira, money that should have been pumped into the productive sectors of the economy, such that if we had dealt with insecurity, fixed power, you'll find out that gradually our productive capacity would have risen to the point where we would have settled the decision. The IMF says, we would have made a decision. The IMF says the naira is overvalued. The CBN governor Cardoso says the naira is undervalued. Now, you cannot resolve that debate just by mere discussions, but by increasing your productive capacity such that when the economy begins to expand and all of that, you may just have to deal with some hitches, contractions and all that. But all in all, you will not, the decision will flow naturally. It is the market that will decide if he wants a strong naira or if he wants a weak naira. But this is not by fiat, defending the naira subsidy and all that. Like you are paying fuel subsidy after saying that subsidy is a scam. Let's get more serious.
Well, I think
yes.
It's a good thing for citizens to be able to feed themselves by way of producing certain things locally. For instance, before the insurgent broke out, at least in 2015, that was, we were buying a bag of rice, 6,000, 8,000, 7,000. Why? Because farmers were able to go to farm at that period of time. When I was growing up, we were growing rice in my place in Delta State. When we harvested the rice and we were cooking the rice here, you can perceive the aroma across the road. But today, when you are cooking rice here, even within the flat, you will not even perceive the aroma because we don't know the type of rice we have today because the rice is being imported.
Even GMO rice.
So yes, so if we are able to produce to feed ourselves first, that is the first advantage.
Yes.
People should be able to produce to feed themselves. It is when after you have be able to feed yourself, you think of export. Export is good, but it is not because we are not exporting anything. That's why the naira is crashing. No, the 16 years of PDP. What did we export in this country? Was it not crude oil? It's the same crude oil we are exporting. How come that the naira is depreciating every day? It is because of the policy of this current APC government. They dollarize this economy. Today in Nigeria, they use dollar to pay school fees in Nigeria. They use dollar to pay rent. They use dollar to
even some
buy land.
Even some government agencies.
Even government itself. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, the federal government used dollar to pay the gas company that is supplying gas to the power plants $120 million, and the federal government is owing $130 billion. Tell me which other country where the government pay in foreign currency in services to them in their own country. It's only in Nigeria. So if the federal government is sincere itself and stop this payment of dollars to companies that are render services to Nigeria, you see that the currency will rise.
Yes.
If the federal government is sincere and take a drastic action that any school that collects school fees in dollar, that school will be shut down. Or if you go to their books and find out that they have dollars in their account, you take it away. All these things we stop. So it is not because we are not exporting anything. It is the dollarization of the economy that is making the naira to crash. America will never use naira to pay anybody that is operating there. Yeah. Ghana will never use naira to pay any Nigerian company that is operating there. But here everything goes. And again, there's no any other country where foreign currency is sold on the street as if they are selling groundnut and sweet. The way dollar foreign currency is being sold, every loose are cranny in Nigeria. Tell me, I have been to some few countries too, especially in West Africa.
Yeah, they have BDCs.
They have BDCs, but this one you see everywhere. You see people harassing you for dollars. These are the things that are making the currency to the naira to crash. It was it not in the same country that Olufalaye was finance minister when the naira was 5 naira to $1? How many years ago?
It was on 3 naira, 25 kobo to
yes.
$1. Babangida devalued it.
Yes, at a time it was 75 kobo, not even up to a naira. 75 kobo to $1. That was 1980 in the same country. How come that immediately this APC government came to place? The naira from 180 from 180 in 2015, it sharply rose to 200, 300, 400,
750
500 to 7.
in 20.
Then immediately he ended them before Buhari left office. Immediately Lubu came to office. It started to rise because of the pronouncement. Subsidy is gone without any arrangement. And the floating of the naira. How do you float your naira that you subject it to forces of demand and supply? It's not ordinary commodity that you just subject it to forces of demand and supply. When you see people selling this thing on the street, by so doing, it becomes a product of the highest bidder. Once I have enough money, I buy it, I buy enough of it, and lock it up.
If we are sincere,
anticipating that tomorrow
serious,
it will increase, then you sell.
If we are serious, do you know one thing we can do? Since people want to make payments in dollars, they have to go to the streets to look for dollars. Let's turn it the other way around. When people want to make payments, let them go and look for naira and see if the economy will not improve.
Get better.
That is it. Let them go and look for naira. Even if you want to buy oil, want to buy anything from Nigeria, take the dollars, go to the bank. The way we fill Form M, Form A, to look for dollars. Go and fill form and look for naira. Then when banks now tell you, okay, you have to wait maybe 3 days to get naira, because CBN is watching to make sure that there isn't, there isn't too much naira out there. Then you will see we'll get more serious. The economy will get better. Let's stop this bastardization of the naira by our deliberate. By deliberate recklessness. It's just recklessness. It's nothing else. Just recklessness.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen.